Hey there, good evening, and thank you for joining us for our True Talk Thursday podcast, the platform that encourages a thought provoking conversation about topics centered around education. What's so neat about this podcast is that you'll hear opinions, experiences, research, and ideas from various perspectives. But I do want to remind you all that the views and opinions expressed tonight do not necessarily reflect that of Alas or NABSE. And so tonight we have the great pleasure of sharing this evening with Dr. Maria Armstrong and Dr. Atiba-Weza, who will be driving the conversation. And so without further ado, let's turn to them to take it away. We thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Francois. And we probably want to add that during our podcast, it's not just that the opinions and the ideas that we share and what we express here. It's not just for Alas and NABSE. It's also for our guests. So Tai, if when I introduce you and you want to share your disclaimer, please feel free to do so. But before we get there, before we even have you answering anything, I want to have just to put in context the great pleasure of introducing Tai Chapman. We mentioned a couple of weeks ago that we were using our vodcasts to talk about women because it's Women in History's Month, but we wanted to talk to women that we know are moving the dial out there. And so we get to have tonight all to ourselves, Tai Chapman actually, I should probably have Atiba introduce you because you do a little moonlighting besides working for Scholastic.
I do.
Yes, indeed she does. Tai Chapman is a member of the board of directors of the National Alliance of Black School Educators. She sits on the executive committee. She is our director of corporate relations and partnerships. Very hardworking, not because she's on my board member. I've known Miss Chapman for quite a while, since I was a young superintendent. And she was a much younger corporate representative at that time.
He had to go there.
He had to go there.
She does wear two hats, and many of our sister and brother organizations have a paid staff member who do what Tai does for us as a volunteer. So we are greatly appreciative of that. And I don't know, I can't speak for her colleagues at Scholastic, but she does give us quite a bit of time. So I imagine she doesn't sleep a whole lot.
Now that is one heck of an intro, because talk about wanting to have the right person on the vodcast for this particular month. Tai, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but as you're doing so, as Atiba said, how you sit on the board for NABSE, and we know now that you have your day job with Scholastic. Can you also tell us what your role is there, and how did you even get involved with Scholastic, and how did you get involved with NABSE?
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Such a privilege to have this time, especially during the month of March, with it being Women's History Month. I am so delighted to share just a little bit about me and what I do, and how we are impacting change in both organizations. I am Tai Chapman. I live in the great state of Texas. I am the Senior National Director of Strategic Initiatives for Scholastic Education. Very, very proud of that. I love what I do with NABSE because it is my give back, my fulfillment and commitment. You get to, when you can parlay your passion with your philanthropy, I think it is the perfect setting for growth and development. I got to answer your question, Maria. I wonderfully was walking around the exhibit hall of NABSE doing my corporate duties and making sure that all of our exhibitors were pleased with their spots, and encountered a Scholastic rep. And he said, "You have been so nice throughout this whole conference." He said, "Have you ever thought about working for Scholastic?" At the time, I was with another publisher. And I said, "No." I said, "Is Scholastic hiring?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Take my card." And so we followed up, and the rest is history. So it was through NABSE that my role at Scholastic was developed. And, what I love is in my role, it's strategic initiatives. So that also is inclusive of a loss. And I have had a phenomenal partnership, have brought some of my colleagues, Michael Hagan, got involved under my tutelage. So it has been just a really fulfilling initiative to have Black and Brown students represented, and that our philanthropy, our give back, we do well by doing good, all comes back to both organizations.
How long have you been with Scholastic?
This is year 12 for me, 12 years
Nice.
12 years with Scholastic, 16 years in the business. Yep. So Atiba was absolutely right. I was a mere tot when I started, yes.
Before you went to Scholastic, where were you and what did you do there? And more importantly, what got you into this field to begin with?
I ran from education for many years. My background, my education is all in as a journalist. I am studied communications at Northeast Louisiana University, which is, I've been away so long they've changed the name, but it is the Louisiana State University Monroe, but studied there and got out of school and became a disc jockey. Did not have any intent on doing anything that had anything remotely to do with education, because I have two parents that were both educators. So I had been that kid that was waiting for mom to leave and she was doing a bulletin board or grading papers on a Sunday afternoon, with them, or my dad setting up a lab. So we'd have to go to school extremely early, and being there, being on campus and your parents being in leadership, craziness, and everybody identifying you as Robert's kid, So I just decided family of educators, said I never wanted to work in education, and came to Dallas, lived here, got involved worked in radio, loved it, and then decided it was a little too fast for me. It wasn't Louisiana. I'm originally from Louisiana. So I just decided, I want to do something that I can have some give back. But the one thing that my platform at the radio station allowed me was the opportunity to participate with schools. Got really busy and committed to Dallas Independent School District under the direction of Dr. Yvonne Ewell, who is a NABSE legend. And Dr. Ewell is the person that I had the very first contact with NABSE. And she unfortunately passed away not long after that. And I started working in the pharmaceutical area. And from that, things just kind of played into one another. There was a colleague that said, oh, there's an education company that needs some help. Have you ever thought about doing it? And I was like, education company, what is that? And so went out, met the lady, and fell in love with the passion of the organization and seeing kids. I don't have any natural children. I have 3 beautiful nephews. And because of them and because of the sacrifice and the extension of myself with other kids, I kind of adopt the nation's kids. So it's really cool. It's really cool to be fulfilled by doing what you would do for free.
That's a really good question, because you mentioned, and as our guest, here for Women's History Month, the question I have for you is, you touched upon it a little bit. Who have been those influential, folks that you've walked this journey in life with?
Yeah, that's a great question, because there's so many. I think you steal nuggets all along the way. You've been a great friend to me. And I think, our energy level and exchange is the same thing. And we haven't even had real time together, but it's just magical. I will also say, my mom is a phenomenal woman, if there is such a thing. She's a praying woman, and I think that makes having that spirituality and grounded, she's strong because things don't come against her that she can't handle. She's smart and she always works for betterment, so that's huge. My sister, I watch her just be a giant, and she's my younger sister at that, but 3 boys, a wonderful husband, married 24 years, just, legacy kind of dedication and commitment. And then just a lineage of women who dared to be great and worked really hard to do it. And they always poured into someone else, to pull them up. So, educators, most of my friends, I was thinking about this the other day, and this is hilarious because I realize I've got much younger friends. I've got a mid-sized group of friends, and then I've got my largest pool of influential friends are all, way 65 and older. And so it's like 20 plus years, my senior, but they are the ones that I get nuggets from, that I can have real talk conversations, and they always just pour in and give you more to be encouraged. Yeah. And just to look for in landmines, so you can avoid that stuff. And that's beautiful to me.
Absolutely. Kindred spirit, sister.
You better believe it. You're stuck. You're stuck. Or beaching us. That's what it's going to be.
Atiba, you're muted.
We may let him go. Maybe. He needs a vacation. He needs a vacation.
Pandemic notwithstanding, what do you see as some of the pressing issues facing our public schools today?
Wow. Just so much, it's, I don't think that we could really talk about it. I know you said pandemic notwithstanding, but I think the pandemic has a huge impact. But, education is not what it used to be. And it's, nor is it the education that I received, and just in my thrust, as I said, I was looking at that landscape of friends and the age brackets, how women are represented in the spirit of Women's History Month, I think is huge, because looking at superintendents that are in leadership roles that are female, that are in that age bracket of 55 and over, and our male counterparts that are doing it, who retire once and come back into the district, there aren't any, and that's why I was reflecting on that group to actually see, who's present, who's doing what, and there are very few of us. So I think, we've got to find leaders that represent the landscape of our country and our homes, and people that look like us. That family connection that schools have to make is imperative. That's an imperative piece with kids to actually reach them. I have a colleague in Mississippi that was, sharing some information about his district and the landscape of it, and how many middle school kids that he was losing, that were actually losing their lives. That's something that wasn't happening. I mean, when I was in school, it was like, I'll meet you outside after school in the parking lot, for maybe, a pushing match, a shoving match, or a fist fight. It wasn't a shootout, so other epidemics, we have hungry kids, the little things that used to be just something that was intrinsically part of someone's growing up. Parents that did any job to make it. We don't have that anymore. And kids are being put in roles that they're not ready for. They don't get to be kids. So I think, and then we got to go in the classroom, and look at the landscape of educators and how the training is, and are they really being afforded the opportunities to grow and develop like they want to achieve best levels, and to be vested into programs that they can grow and assimilate better environments for students. I don't know if that's all happening, and assess accordingly, so that's another level of it. And then, they're paying for performance, so I mean, I think the list of things go on and on and on. But I will say to you guys what I said to my friend when he called me last week. I will say that you have to be the change that you want to see. And, you may not save all of them, but you know what? If I can snag up a good 5 to 10 by actually doing the right thing all the time and being a change agent for students and an advocate for their best vet, that's who we have to be on every level, on every level.
You know, that's going to be our cliffhanger. We're going to wait. We're going to go ahead and take a minute break, but we're going to come back and continue to talk about, you know, the bottom line is about the kids and about the change, you know, that you mentioned. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey there, and don't forget, if you like what you hear and want to gain some more insight into what school districts are facing now, then tune in every Thursday at 7 p.m. or subscribe below. We thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great night.